Okay, I've put the nodes in for this fin, and while I was doing it I realized I had forgotten something. That was, we need a border, not to go right the way around, but we need a border to go around the water eddies. So I'm going to digitize an open shape. I'll hide the carving stamp. I'll tell that open shape to stop for a minute because the carving stamp gets rid of my object properties. Okay. Digitize open shape, and we can either go for a motif, a back stitch, a hem stitch, a zigzag, or a satin. And I'm going to go for a satin. So press that, then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to select the colour of the water. Right. When I actually stitch this out, I am going to use a blue and green variegated thread. Right, that's part one. Now I'm going to change that to a run line. And walk down the fin of my tail and now you're probably thinking, yeah, but that can be seen. Well, at this stage in the game, yes, it can. Now I'm going to pick up a single line again. That's my hand. Too big a jump. So make that a left. Now I know quite a lot of people don't like travelling, and they'll say to me, I've got scissors on my machine, why do I need to travel? And I just say it's a choice you make. How often do you want your cutter replaced? And how long do you want to spend tidying up the back of your embroideries with your embroidery scissors because you've got long tails. Okay, now that will look horrendous. So let's go and have a look. Because it's sitting on top of everything else. But if I highlight that now and I move it up, I moved it up one too many. There we go. Now it can't be seen because it's in the correct place. Now, I'm going to make that purple just to remind me. Well, actually, no, I'll make it bright red. Just to remind me that when I get to my machine, that colour is going to be a variegated green and blue thread. Otherwise, I could forget. So, I just think that I have to put a solid colour on. Okay, now this fin. Now you can see there's an enormous distance from there to there. And it would be impossible for any machine to stitch that length of satin stitch without causing considerable damage to your machine. So I'm going to take it out of True View. And I'm going to go to select that, reshape, and I want to alter the angle of fill. Now, remember, I'm going to carve it, and carving works best if it can carve through the fill angle. Anything that follows the fill angle won't be seen when you do the carving. So you have to make certain that your fill angles are not the same as the angle that you're going to carve at. And I've also shortened the distance that the machine would have had to travel. Right, so I'm going to stop that, and now I'm going to select it, and I'm going to go to Carve, Start to Digitize. Bring that out there. One click to set the node. And bring that one out there. I'm not attempting to go up through the point. The points are narrow enough as it is. and bring that one out there. Bring it out there. Then this one. Bring it out there. Okay, so now those are in. And then I want to put this one in. I can't really see it. Here we go. I'm catching the ends of my other lines that I laid. And I'm darned if I can see where that one is. Let me turn off display. I hit my D key to do that. I cut this one off too short, so I have to lengthen him up. Oh, put him in that way. Set them. Now, whilst I'm up at this magnification, we'll go a bit taller. Can you see these are all little dots? And that's telling me there's no stitch there. Right, I'm going to hit enter again. And then I'm going to tell it stamp. Now I've got solid lines. I've got dots here, which is telling me these are too long. So I have to do something about that. So first of all, let me go into True View, pull back, this is telling me, hang on, you've made that area there too wide for me to stitch. It will stitch it, but my machine will slow right down to a crawl, and I'm not doing my hoop mechanism any good at all by forcing it to do extra wide stitches. So let's come back in and come out of True View. There's the dotted lines. It's stitched as far as here, and then it said no, can't cope. So now I'm going to go back to carve. And unfortunately I don't see the original carve line, which is a bit of a pain in the neck. I'll put it into True View. Right. Start digitizing. stamp. Now we'll look at that in digitizing mode, and all my stitches now, oh no, I've got one there, look, 1, 2, ooh. Okay, I've gone into reshape. I'm going to click on this shape. Where's that ultra long stitch? It was up here somewhere. I'm going to close that one up and just spread this one out a teeny bit. Now let's look at that in 3D. That looks okay. And there's no big long stitch coming from up here down into here. They're all chopped up now. I'll shape that out a bit more. Okay, I'm going to tell that to stop and then look again in digitizing mode, highlight it. Ha! Do you know what that was? It was the grid line. Oh, Maggie. Never mind. At least I showed you how you could move your nodes on a carve line. Which brings me around nicely now to what we've looked at and why I've shown you. Okay, we started off with just the graphic, and I have pre-sized the graphic to fit the window. Then we looked at the water eddies, and the tool we used was the digitized blocks with contour fill. Let me close carving stamp. Open object properties. Okay. Contour fill. I could have tried to use Ripple. Ripple is a beautiful fill, but it takes a lot of playing with to find out how it works properly. And it really does need a whole set of videos just to itself. So we've looked at the digitized block with contour. Now you can use digitized block with any one of the fills that are up here. Then we looked at the fin. We did the fin, we set satin stitch lengths, we altered the fill angle because I needed to be able to carve through it, and then we used the carve tool. So if I go into reshape and I move in, those are all my carve lines. And if I tap on one, it gives me my nodes. And I can move those nodes, I can narrow them, I can widen them. and just treat it as I would treat any other object. So I'm going to tell that stop. Then we did the body. And let's come out of true view for a minute. And if you remember, I used my weave fill tool